Hello, creatives. Thank you for dropping by. Before we get started, hit the notification bell, like, share, subscribe. It really helps us out. I'm back. We had some home repairs, so it kind of slammed my schedule. So I haven't been able to be here as regularly as I wanted to, but I'm here. And let's discuss today's thought. So you've heard this saying: if you get angry, count to 10. Like, you take your time, catch breath, count to 10, and it's like, okay, I'm okay. I'm feeling much better. um, there's a rationale behind that counting to 10. So today's thought is: use the pause, um, create a space between stimulus and response. And many times, as humans, what we want to do is create control what happens to us. And there are many things in life we can't control. There are events that are out of our control, events that come at us. Life uh, shows up, and life can blindside us many times and hit us with things that are unexpected. It's important to understand that we kind of get a grasp of this as we get older. But there is one thing that you can control, and that's your reaction to things that happen to you in your life. So let me explain. Can't control the things that occur. Sometimes there are things completely out of your control that you cannot control, but you can control how you react to those things. So you get bad news, and instead of flying off the handle, losing your mind, going on a rampage, going on a rant, getting upset, take a moment and use that pause. You want to create some space between the stimulus, the bad situation, and negativity that's coming at you, and your response. So if you can manage to create a space, I'm not saying the 10-second thing, although that's not bad advice. I mean, if you can count to 10, you get bad news, you count to 10, catch your breath, recenter, ground yourself, and then react. That's much better than getting bad news and immediately exploding or immediately reacting. Because sometimes in those moments of immediate reaction, you want to think again. We don't always work best when we're emotional. We don't always work best when it's a knee jerk situation. So you want to take time to stop, use the pause, think, okay, this is happening to me. What would be my best response? I'm not saying this is easy, because usually in the heat of the moment, we just react. We get emotional, we get upset, or we get angry, and we just react with an answer, a response, an action. But then we end up regretting it later because we kick ourselves as, I should have not acted that way, or I should have said that, or I should have taken a moment to kind of like assess the situation and then give my response. But sometimes, because we become emotional, because we get uh, very, very angry at times, we immediately say or do something that we shouldn't. Use the pause. There's nothing wrong with taking a moment, stepping back, catching a breath. Sometimes, the news is really overwhelming. Take that moment to really process what's happening, to really process the news that you're getting. Pause. And I don't want to just say rationally, but I want you to say, use every perspective that you can use to look at the situation and see what's the best response you can give, because that's the only thing you can really control, is how you react to the things that are happening to you. You may not be able to control what's happening, but you can control how you react. um, there are plenty of anecdotes and plenty of historical things where there were people in horrible situations, and they couldn't control what's happening to them because the circumstances that were beyond their control. But they could control how they reacted to those situations, to those horrible situations. They control that. They control how they viewed them. They control how the situation affected them, and they could control how they came out of that situation in a way that was probably not the expected way from the situation that was being caused. A good example of this is Eli Wiesel, who was in a concentration camp, and he survived it, and he came out. He wrote books, and he explained his situation and the horrors that he saw. But there was one quote, and I'm paraphrasing. He said, "I was in the camp, but my body was there, but my mind was somewhere else." Meaning, yes, he couldn't control the fact that he was in this horrible place, enduring this horrible situation. He had to be there because that was out of his control. But he could control how he reacted to that situation, how he dealt with that situation. Now, that's an extreme, obviously, but it kind of shows that even in the hardest situation, the most difficult situation, the most negative situation, we can control how we respond. So that's the thought I want you to take for the rest of this week, because it's already the nighttime edition. Use the pause. Someone cuts you off in traffic, don't immediately fly off the handle. Someone says something to you that's insulting, don't immediately respond. Use the pause. Take a moment. Read. Create some space between that stimulus and your response. And above all, be uncommon. Have a great time. I'll see you guys the rest of this week because I have to make up for the days that we missed. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a great, great evening. From where I'm at, have a great evening. Until then.